Yes, sirree. I'm John Mickey, buried here. I died when I was 90 years old. They said it was old age and senility. I don't even know what senility is. My wife, Susan, she's buried here. And my two boys, John Jr. and James, are buried here. You know, I came out here when I was 16 years old to Oregon in 1850 looking for gold. Couldn't find very much gold. Most of it was already taken. But worse than that, I couldn't find me a wife. So I went back to Iowa, I did, and I met my wife, Susan. Well, we raised a family out there, and then the government said that if we'd come out here and become stump farmers, they would pay for us to come out on the railroad for free, and I could buy as much land as I wanted to for 25 cents an acre, up to 360 acres. Well, I only had enough money for 20 acres. And the deal was with the government, I had 3 years to make 8% of that land productive. You see, those stumps were huge, big stumps. They come and they cut down the trees, they left the stumps, and the land was barren except for the stumps. So they wanted us, we could plant trees on it, and then we had to take out the stumps and make it productive so it would grow food. Well, I did that, and the government man came around 3 years later, and I had more than my 8%. I had 10% of my 20 acres all ready for crops and everything. And so I could buy all 20 acres for $1 an acre, and it was mine to do anything I want to with it. But you know, that was hard work. My boys and I, and my wife, we worked really hard to make that land productive. Well, we had to come into town sometimes just to get jobs so we could make a few dollars. I remember one time, it was about 1915, there was a big war going on in Europe. And my boys came down into town here and they worked at the spruce mill. They were cutting over 1 million cubic feet of wood a day to make aeroplanes to send over to Europe with guns on them to fight and win the war. But I saw an airship before that. In 1905, over in Oregon, they had a big expo. We were in town, we couldn't afford to go across the river and see the expo, it cost too much money. But all of a sudden I looked up in the sky and there was this big thing, looked like a big blimp. And they said it was an aeroship. And a man by the name of Lincoln Beachy was flying it. And he flew across the river and he landed right over there in the parade grounds of the fort. And he had some postcards and letters for the mayor and the commanding officer of the fort. And they had stamps on them, and he said that was the first airmail in the United States of America. But you know what? Those stamps cost 14 cents each. Why? I go to the post office in Battleground, and for 2 cents, the postmaster puts a stamp on my letter and he'll mail it anywhere I want. Well, Sadie, Ma told me she's going to meet us up in Brush Prairie where some of our other kin are buried, and so we need to go on up there, okay? Come on, Sadie, let's go on up to Brush Prairie, wherever that is.